喂，喂，周岩，能听着吗？试一下，试一下，试一下，试一下，怎么样？效果还行啊。现在效果怎么样？能听着吗？OK。
for example, how to control an industrial crane with a glove, or how to prevent breast cancer, or whatsoever. So people, guys behind the mixing table or whatsoever it is, can you hear me there? Okay, because I prefer not using microphone if it can be easily heard here. So if you stay on the sides, please come here. So it's better to have also a close group. And so briefly. Of course, it's risky business. Students come from outside the domain. We're not sure what comes out from there, but it's also a fruitful starting point and solid base for creating something new and surprising. Because if the new innovations are only done inside the companies by the R&D department, they know very good their own domain, but it might be the case that they don't have that sort of like stupid questions and new ideas which might come from outside the company. So mostly it's about establishing some open innovation activities. As mentioned, Demola Tampere is part of the bigger entity, New Factory, and inside New Factory, well, first of all about the building, so it's an old cotton factory, so it's a little bit playing with the words. Back in the days it was about creating cotton, and now it's there's no more that much textile industry or clothing industry in Tampere, and but the factory still exists, and now we are in the old factory premises creating some new activities as part of new factory. And as I was mentioning in the beginning, now we're focusing on Demola Tampere, but we also operate startup program as one of the new factory activities. So 3 or 4 times a year we gather up a bigger set of startups, 15 to 20 different startups. It can be that they are not yet established, it can be only one person or a team without business ID or whatsoever, but they will go through the program and then see if they are, let's say, getting investment, diving into that startup idea with full-time employment or so. And so quite often if somebody comes here and says that okay, I would have a terrific idea to Demola, it's my own idea as an individual person, and it would be terrific if we build a team to it in Demola. Quite often we need to say that if it's your idea and you are willing to be the, let's say, main innovator in the team, we're not talking about Demola project, we're talking about startup program, upcoming startup team. And with Demola we need the initial setup to be such that those who give the assignments have the real need and real idea about that this project would be good, but they also need to be ready to kind of lead it to the team. So there is continuous collaboration between the team and we call it project partner company, but it cannot be like project partner strictly telling, now you do this and this is your next task list or so on, but it should be like the healthy relationship between the team and project partner in Demola is such that the team is the driving force. Team makes proposals to the project partner, and then team and project partner meet every couple of weeks and to discuss what project partners is valuable and where they can give some consultation and insight. So even when the project partner is kind of the owner of the idea or owner of the initial project setup, it's the team who kind of is the main primus motor during the project. That's it. And by the way, if during the presentation you have anything to ask, bring it on. So I'm ready to jump from one slide to another. Also because it might be that I'm forgetting to tell something, or you would have some further question about some topic. So it might be more fruitful to just jump right away to that specific topic. And so once again, to illustrate it a little bit better, as an input to one Demola project, we need some sort of idea or need from project partner. Then what happens during the project is kind of the core competence or core knowledge of Demola, and then as output we get a valuable demo created by the team. And we try to make it sure that as many projects as possible will turn out to have valuable results, because it's not at all sure in the beginning. And as the ideas might be quite vague, or let's say high abstraction level in the beginning, it might be, for example, last autumn I had one project with like a couple of haircut professionals who said that we want to build a digital platform for cutting hair. We know nothing about digital tools, we don't know how it looks like, but it doesn't exist yet, and we have very strong knowledge about the traditional ways to teach and educate the hairdressers. So let's start this project. And of course, when we gather the team, we don't know at all if it will be a success, and we don't know how the platform would look like. So it's very important that we can support the team independently on the topic during the project. And for that reason, we need to use the Agile Innovation Project framework and Agile methods generally. So as the main principle in Agile project management is that we cannot do it so that here we have the topic, then team starts working, building their idea, and then in the end of project we see what comes out. But we need to be sure that in quite early phase, when team has like aligned the first thoughts and has implemented some first paper prototypes or shitty prototypes, they will already like come out with what they have done to the users and to different stakeholders to show what they have been thinking, and gathering feedback from here and there about how it looks like and what parts of it are working well and what are a little bit like not that solid. So we need very many different iteration rounds. So let's say when it comes to one agile development cycle or iteration round, the development and design of course needs to be done first, then demo building, and then measuring and validation. And in Demola project this part is mostly not meant for reporting the project result, but it's mostly because of team needs it in order to build the next evolution of their project. We don't have any specific time, like one cycle should be 2 weeks or whatsoever, but let's say roughly it shouldn't be more than 1 month, so quite early phase in the project the team should already have something to show, and they should have the attitude that they are also willing to show the world what they have done and willing to receive the feedback about that. Then about some of the Demola main strengths, let's say. I've been already emphasizing the multidisciplinarity. So in Demola, the student teams are roughly about size of 4 to 6 team members, and in all the teams we have more than one university represented. Quite often it's the 3 universities here in Tampere, Tampere University of Technology, University of Tampere, and Tampere University of Applied Sciences, so that all 3 of these universities are represented. So we have the means to quite agile way receive the open applications, build the teams, and start the projects with the group which is beforehand it's unknown to each other. So we don't accept applications like I would like to come here to develop this with my friends, but you can only apply as individual and argumenting us why you would like to be in this specific project and what would you bring here. And we can let's say we can have the combination of user interface designer, social science guy or girl, maybe graphical designer, and business student. So the combination can be various, and it depends not only based on the project description, which is openly visible for all the students, but also what sort of applications we might get. So it's totally possible that we get an application from out of the blue from somebody who is, let's say, student of first year only, but has done, let's say, music producing as a hobby and does that very well, and can resolve us why his ability to produce music would be very beneficial to this specific project. So that's about the multidisciplinarity. Then two other strengths. One is facilitation. So as annually we are taking care of roughly 60 different projects. It's a big set of projects, and we're talking about 300 students, roughly, the constant flow of students through Demola model. So in each one of the projects we need to have some sort of like support and some sort of facilitation, but it needs to be handled on a very efficient way. So the members of Demola personnel we call facilitators, and for each one of Demola projects we have an appointed facilitator. So the facilitator will make sure that when the project starts, the project partner and team will get along well and get familiar with each other, and then that they have good insight to Demola model. So facilitator also introduces the Demola methods and activities to the whole group and make sure that there is no obstacles on the way. So I would say this is kind of a human factor of innovation. So as it's in the early phase, especially, it's fragile. It might be a little bit frightful. We don't know what comes out. So it's totally necessary for those teams to give some like human and empathic support here. Then when it comes to milestones, milestones are kind of technical framework and schedule of one Demola campaign. So during the year all the projects are arranged to 3 different campaigns, and in each one of those campaigns we follow specific milestone model, and about that I will tell a little bit more later on. But let's first talk a little bit more about facilitation. So the facilitator's role, as we see it, it should be mostly here. So mostly serving the project team and serving the project partner by giving the information about Demola model and methods, and also whatever might be the problem, facilitator should make sure that it's not hindering down the project too much. And then if it looks like the project is proceeding well, team knows what they're going to do, communications between project partner and team works well, then facilitator can go a little bit more to surveillance camera mode, so not need to intervene that much, or maybe in some cases it might be even that it might be not necessary to go poking there, but just let the team to do the trick and that's it. So to be more, take more as a passive role. But also during the project we have the trainings and events, so sometimes we need to be consultants or teachers or whatsoever, and of course as we're talking about like hopefully valuable results and unknown people to each other, sometimes we as well need to take the referee role, so if there is some sort of argument between the team members or between team members and the project partner, so ready to be solving that sort of team dynamics issues or arguments as well. They don't happen that often, but of course each project has different phases, and every now and then we also come up with these. So then the Demola Tampere is operated by this team. So I'm leading the team, and we have 5-member facilitator team, which, as you can see, it's very international. So I think the activity is well aligned to the ambassador network as well. And I'm the only one of Demola Tampere facilitators at the moment who hasn't been doing Demola projects by myself. So I'm scarcely or a little bit too old for that. So I was just graduated before the Demola activity started, maybe half a year or 1 year before. But all the rest of the guys and girls have showed very good performance in Demola projects, and also understanding the Demola model and how it should be used very well. So it has been easy to select always the the most suitable facilitators out of that annual 300 persons flowing through the Demola projects. As you can see, Ohad, who is actually there, I don't know if the laser goes all the way there. So Ohad is initially from Israel and engineering background, aerospace or aeronautics, and in Finland knowledge and information management, I think. Julia is originally from Kazakhstan, and she has studied international business in Tampere University of Applied Sciences. Then I have engineering background from automation from TUT. Tatjana hasn't actually studied in Finland, but has a strong background from user experience and user interface, and is originally from Greece. And then Raul, who is also at the moment citizen of Finland already, so we could draw also the Finnish flag here. But Raul is initially from Mexico and studied, I think, logistics back there, and in Finland industrial engineering. I might have some mistakes. Good, thanks. So that's the combination of facilitators in Tampere, and as you see, it's a little bit paradoxal because the Demola Network International team looks like more Finnish than the Finnish team in Tampere. So, but that's the case, and most of the guys taking care of other Demola locations. So Tampere is kind of the oldest one. So here Demola activity started in 2008, but nowadays Demola operates in roughly 20 different cities around Europe, and also a couple of nodes or locations outside Europe, in Mexico and in Southern Africa and Namibia. So all of the guys here have been facilitating in Demola Tampere before then moving to network side. And here we're talking also about education background. So background of Jarmo and Jere have been adult education as studies in university. So I think very many different backgrounds can be tapped into when talking about Demola facilitation. And so here's a brief map of different Demola nodes around the world. So mostly inside Europe, but as well in some more distant places. And this is not a fly, it's Demola Canary Islands, and actually we are going to have the annual Demola Summit next month there. So we have a yearly meeting, and we always do the voting for that. So for example, Demola Oulu didn't get at all that many votes when compared to Demola Canary Islands. But then about the multidisciplinarity, I was already talking a little bit. This spring we have focused especially on healthcare. So we always, as mentioned, we have 3 campaigns. We have Demola Spring, Demola Summer and Demola Autumn. Now we are about to finish Demola Spring 2017 here in Demola Tampere, and we are now finishing the planning of Demola Summer projects, and in a couple of weeks we will open the call for projects for the autumn. So we will try to fix as many projects as possible for the autumn before summer holidays, because we know that if it goes after summer holidays, as it always goes, then it will be great hurry. So we try to do as much as possible beforehand. So with this background, this spring campaign we have built the sub-theme of Demola goes health tech. So we've had 9 different projects on health tech and healthcare domain, and of course it's not about only healthcare students, but it's about technology and business and all the other disciplines as well. And it has turned out to be very, very good sub-theme. So just yesterday we had the last big pitching event of Demola, so final pitching event of this campaign, and I think as we broadcasted it in Facebook, so if you want to check a couple of best pitches there, you can just go to Demola Facebook and then check afterwards. Of course it's not the live stream anymore, but you can still find it there. So we had 27 different projects pitching, and 4 out of 5 the best projects were from healthcare domain. So it seems like we have gathered good topics and also good student combinations for specifically healthcare topics. And for the autumn we have the new plan, so it's not going to be health tech anymore. Once again we are going to do the projects on very wide variety of domains, but we are going to select one specific sub-theme. Then a little bit about the milestones. So as I mentioned, we just yesterday had the final pitching event of this Demola campaign, but it's only one milestone. So when the campaign starts, we have the kickoff events, and then bit by bit we go through different trainings and workshops and sessions until in the final meetings, which is the last meeting between the project team and project partner, the results are transferred to the project partner side, and project partner has 1 month to decide if they want to use the results or not. And if they do, then they have the chance to do it by licensing the right to use the results from the team. So team practically owns the results until then. Demola takes no role or no position when it comes to owning the results. Demola is only the platform, and then by paying the licensing reward to the team, the company can get all the results to their use. According to Demola project model, it's not a non-exclusive right, so the team also has the chance to develop it further. So it's from Demola point of view, it's the way to get team more motivated and open up the setup so that if the team works well and if the relationship between the project partner and team works well, it can be also a starting point for a startup or some sort of subcontraction relationship. So that's it.
And if not? If they want to explore the results, nobody?
If nobody wants to explore the results, then the result is just left with the team. So it's not any sort of problem in Demola, and actually we just are next Tuesday we are publishing the annual report from year 2016, and the total licensing percentage of the project results is from last year is 48. So it's a little bit lower than the previous year, but we are on roughly on the level where we want to be. So we want the project partners to be quite like strict with if they are going to use it or not, and if they are not going to use it, it's good to know for both the project partner and the team that it's not going to be licensed only for the effort done, but only if they are willing to use the result.
You don't do anything. I mean, maybe you think that it's a good result. Maybe you could encourage other group, other people to continue with the idea.
As Demola, it's a little bit tricky because we want to focus on operating the projects, not like owning the IPR or not. Let's say it's difficult enough to push through these 60 different projects annually up to the point where the decision between team and project partner is going to be done. So the Demola's part is restricted to the part where the decision about using the results is done. So after that, let's say if we have a student team or one team member who calls us and says that, okay, I would like to get further with this result, we will be glad to help and give all the promotional help and the contacts and everything that we do have so that they can get further with that. But we don't take any role as Demola in those sort of follow-up. So every project result which is pushed to level of product or service is beneficial for Demola, but it's good for Demola to focus on the role of operating the project, not like taking the project and then. Okay. I think it's also partly because of like having the neutral role. So if Demola would be somebody to operate the best project results, it would also be a matter of like neutrality, or it would. I don't know, Demola might be risked for some bias or so on.
Is there another organization that can help those students that want to continue the idea?
Yes.
So they can receive help, not from Demola?
Definitely. So then when we're talking about entrepreneurship, Demola is not the main model of becoming an entrepreneur, but it might be a good tool to increase your entrepreneurial thinking, because you need to do the innovation project with the team up to a specific level, and you need to be ready to combine your face to the things what you have done and speak to audience and so on. But if it's going to be like incubated to a startup, then it's not Demola's role anymore. So I would say the part that Demola is taking care of is quite complicated, and to me it's there are many players who are doing the incubation already. So we, for example, some teams we forward to the new factory startup program. So that for some teams that's a very good way to continue with the project results. And of course, all the universities have also their own services for startups and so on. Yep.
I think it's a very tricky thing that the company at the end says that I will, take your results or won't take the results. And the reason is we have a similar summer program where and during the spring and the fall we have a couple of business or companies bringing in their projects. And what we tell them is that you have to be heavily involved in the process, in the development process, because it's a co-learning, co-creation. Mm-hmm. And what we see is that when you are evaluating the results of this of the whole thing, there is the output and process matrix. So when a company tells us that, well, we're not using your output, I'm always posing the question, and what have you learned during the process? Because it's a co-learning, co-creation process. So is there anything built into your system that controls for the process matrix, saying that, even though the end result is not the one that you're going to be using, but still you have been, acquainted with new technologies, possibly to be used, or you now understand what business model Canvas is about, blah, 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 blah.
Yes, this is a very good question. It might be a starting point for a longer discussion, but it's a very interesting one. So briefly, we do the survey in the end of each campaign, and we really require that the collaboration or co-creation between the project partner and team is frequent. So we quite often come up with the situation that the student team is not active enough. So they tell us that we are not willing to meet the project partner before we have done something, and then they kind of lack the motivation to pull something off and so on. So we are requiring that the collaboration is frequent, but about the amount of or commitment level of the companies, it's the tricky point. And I know that even inside the Demola network there are several different opinions on this, because my opinion is that we're talking about innovation projects, and the threshold to let's say cast or start one Demola project should be pretty low. And the people from companies who sit on top of this sort of portfolio of different topics are normally quite busy. Mm-hmm. So in my opinion, what is necessary to be required from the Demola teams and project partners is that the team does the big effort, and project partner gives the commitment and appoints one person who is interested about the project and who is capable in meeting the team every couple of weeks. But if we are requiring much more working hours from there, sometimes it's very beneficial for the project, but sometimes it turns out that the investment to that sort of like light exploration project might be too heavy, and it might be a disappointment for the project partner. So I'm more a fan of a model where we make it sure that one responsible person is found, he's reachable, he's willing to see the team a couple of weeks and interested to see what has been done, and the rest is up to the project partner. But we kind of state it clear that they don't need to do, for example, half a day work weekly to that project. So, and I think I've already used my whole time. Okay, good. So a couple more slides. So the interesting thing here is that the amount of milestones, we're talking about kickoff events being in the end of January, and now the final meetings and New Factory Open being in late May. So we're talking about roughly one semester, a little bit shorter than that. And the amount of milestones is quite restricted, so it's less than 10 different milestones. And the thing is that students come from different universities and different majors or different domains, and we know that whenever we have a common milestone arranged to whole group, somebody needs to miss a lecture or exercise or whatsoever. So we want the people to commit when we have some sort of common event, but we don't want to make it a pain in the ass for the students to always need to skip some lectures in order to take part in Demola activities. So These are kind of the common events or branded milestones of Demola, but most of the work happens inside the team, between the team and project partner, and as individual work, and that's very flexible. So we have a rough amount of time to be used so that it's 5 to 10 hours weekly for team members. In some intensive phase, especially for the coders, it might be more, but we don't. We want to see the bookkeeping on a weekly level, but we are not like requiring teams to be there or do it on a specific time, so there is a lot of flexibility. Let's see, there is a couple of other things I would like to show to you. So maybe some of the project examples. So the winner of the previous spring campaign was the Smart Glove Controller project. So the assignment came from Kone Cranes, industrial crane manufacturer, very big, Finnish, some of you might know it as well. So the project topic was only like build a glove which can control an industrial crane. And this is a very like school example of a Demola project. So team started with very shitty prototypes, like bought some normal gloves from a supermarket, marked with a marker pen where the controls could be, what modalities of control they could use, then bought the electronics, sewed it into the gloves, and then got a miniature crane to the student apartment of one of the team members, and then they had the chance to integrate it to the software API of the crane, and then they got to also try it for the big industrial crane. And then also later on during the project, the Kone Cranes was filing a patent application on that, so it was only a matter of this good discussion between the team and Kone Cranes, what team is going to reveal in different pitching events and what Kone Cranes is taking care of. Maybe still the most well-known Demola project is the Google Glass for Traffic Warden a couple of years ago. So the idea came from Vincit, nowadays a public software development company located mostly here in Tampere, and they had the idea about building a Google Glass solution for traffic warden so that they don't need to use external devices for checking if the parking fee is paid or not, but by only looking to the license plate they could see the information if they need to issue a parking fee or so on, and by just like using the glasses they could print it out. So that was also a very successful one, and maybe on service side a couple of examples. This is from previous autumn. So wooden furniture manufacturer Puulan wanted to have just new concepts of wooden furniture. So this is not even that much technology related project, but more like materials, architecture, concepts, and team came up with a very good booklet of roughly 10 new wooden furniture concepts, and many of those, in my opinion, terrific ones which don't exist. Then once again, Vincit example about rehabilitation using virtual reality. So this goes more to the healthcare and rehabilitation. And then the last one is about like self-examination of breast cancer. So this is also not that much technology related project. It's mostly about like how to bring the awareness of the importance of self-examination of breast cancer. And so the team was building videos, building materials, and doing promotion for this Breast Cancer Association of Finland. And they tried to take the approach that even though the topic is very severe, so that people should feel like the self-examination is already important, and it's not only for somebody who has already been diagnosed or so on. So just to give you a couple of examples. Then 2 more slides, this and 1 more. So this is the set of projects at the moment in Demola Spring 2017. So we have here 28 different projects divided between the facilitators, and these come from very many different areas. Just yesterday we selected the top 5 which will continue the pitching in Best Project Pitching next Tuesday as part of New Factory Open. So if some of you happen to be here in Tampere and available next Tuesday. The registration is still open. I think there is still something like 20-30 different places to the event. It starts in the afternoon and it consists of like Demola best project pitching of 5 best projects, and then also examples from startup side. So for example, this one, which is a project of Ohad Barberg's Busy Bees, was about agricultural drone project. So it's about how to build a drone solution to take the soil examples so that the drone can fly to many different places, which takes a lot of manual work when done by a human being, so that they designed and built specific drilling peripheral for the drone, so that the drone will go down. They will take the soil example and then the drone will continue. And the project partner is now going to continue the project with an investor. So very good example. And yesterday we for the first time saw the actual drone. And all of these projects are also public in Demola website. So if you check tampere.demola.net, you can check all the projects, and if you see something interesting, you can check the project team's blog there as well. Then, yes, about the new factory open I was already mentioning, so it's going to be next Tuesday and also continuing in the evening time. Maybe as last slide I would show you the 2 different starting points for the project. So whenever we start gathering the new set of new Demola project campaign, these are the 2 ways of thinking about potential project topics. First one is the problem based, so or need based it can as well be. So the project partner company has some sort of need or problem, they don't know how to solve it, they don't, it's not part of their core business, or it's a little bit tricky one, you can see it from many directions, and it would be beneficial to collect an external team to think about that. That's the first one, and here you have the problem or need, and you need the outside opinion for that, and it is looking the context but doesn't tell anything about methods. So it can be any technology, any approach. And then the next one is interest based, or let's say explorative type of Demola project. So here we don't have any specific problem, but we have a project partner which is working on one domain, and they have the idea that there is a new technology or new enabler which they would like to incorporate in their own activities. Good example is like at the moment we are working with Tieto with blockchain project. So Tieto is looking for the new ways to how to use the blockchain technology. It can be on any domain. They don't have any specific context. They just want to explore the using of blockchain. So there is no need, there is no problem, but there is an area to be explored. Good, but I think that's it. But if we still have some time for questions, I would like to have a couple of those.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who is funding Demola?
Yes. One more slide. So Demola funding comes from 5 different sources. So all 3 universities are funding Demola. Demola is also the way of implementing this sort of innovation project course. So many of Demola students, more than half of Demola students, get ECTS credit points from the projects. And then the 4th funder or financier is the city of Tampere. So each one of these give 1 share, and we are talking about annually the kind of salary of 1 person roughly. And then the scalable part of Demola funding is the financing from project partners. So whenever a new project is done, if the project is licensed, most of the money goes to student team. So the licensing reward in Demola Tampere normally is €4,000. It might vary, but it's roughly the most usual one, which goes to the team, and we divide it between the team members. And if the licensing is done, then Demola Tampere also takes the administrational fee on top of that, and normally that's €1,500. So for one project it's not very big amount of money, but for Demola, as we are not a player of big money, annually if we do 60 different projects, it's a good share of money. And of course also we at the times we do some consultation and so on as well. Good. Anything else?
Started in 2007.
2008
Okay.
here in Tampere. So the first projects started then and continued to 2009. So the first ones were ready in 2009, and now we are reaching the amount of 500 projects. So that's kind of a celebration for Demola Tampere as well.
What's the most successful, let's say, project that over the years evolved into something really grand?
It's a very good question. I think these ones are some of the most famous ones. The crane controller project and then the Google Glass for traffic warden project. From early years, it's very hard for us to track where the projects go. Like for example, a couple of months ago, I called Connect Cranes to ask like if they have the glove controller implemented in some of their projects. But obviously, they are willing to, if the result is useful, they are willing to take it internal from then on. So they told me that they are not willing to discuss about it. So project is done, results are licensed, that's it. But I don't know if I have a. I think those would be the two examples I would mention. Yes. I think the traffic warden solution is already exported to also other countries and not only in Finland. And last year it won the Project of the Year prize of the Project Association of Finland. So later on I met the Project Association people, and they said that that normally kind of big cruising ships or something win the prizes of big projects, and this is kind of unheard of that this kind of innovation project would win the prize. Yeah.
You said that you have 20 locations all over the world. Do they follow the same scheduling? You said that you have 3 cycles: summer, fall, and winter. I'm sorry, spring, fall, spring, and summer.
Yes.
Do they follow same cycles, or they're independently?
Roughly yes, but the common factor is not the cycles. So common factor is the IPR model and the brand, and then some concepts of milestones and facilitation. And I think most of the Demola locations have the Demola Spring and Demola Autumn campaign, but summer is kind of an exception. So not that many Demola locations do Demola Summer. Only Tampere and I think 1 or 2.
How long is the summer program?
It's 3 months. So
3 months as well.
actually we are at the moment fixing the projects for that, and Ohad will be the facilitator of Demola Summer program. So as summertime we don't have that many different projects, and it's about small community. We always appoint one summer facilitator who takes care of the full campaign. As the rest of us, we are going to be on summer holidays.
In the Canaries.
For example.
All right. Thank you, Ville.
And when you leave, please take a couple of old Demola annual reports of 2015 so that we get rid of them before launching the new one next Tuesday.
All right. My name is Mari Taverne, and I represent Tampere Economic and Development Agency Tredea. And we are now at the Demola facilities. Here we are very happy that Demola invited us to join here. I'm coordinating the Tampere Ambassador Network at Tredea. And I would like to share you a little bit about insights of why we launched the Ambassador Network and what is it all about. This event is also joined with all the ambassadors from Tampere. So we invited also Tampere ambassadors to join this event and meet with you guys, because it's all about the international networks and to connect people together. So, well, actually, if we go 2 years back from now, 2015, we started to think about this kind of networking. How could we facilitate the international networks that are here locally, and how could we utilize also and benefit of those people who have very wide networks internationally?
in order to attract students, businesses, tourists to the region, because Finland is not very well known internationally. It's getting known more and more, but Tampere is a well hidden secret, I could say. That we love Tampere here where we live, but people abroad don't know so very well Tampere. So that was like a puzzle for us that we wanted to find a solution. In 2015, we benchmarked some places, Copenhagen and also Lyon in France, because they have ambassador networks. And then we contacted Demola actually, and we wanted to create a project around the ambassador network idea. And we had also a group of students who gave us ideas, and we created a project around that topic. So based on the Demola project and based on those benchmarking cases that we got information from, we created the Tampere Ambassador Network. We have about 100 people now in the network. About 40 of them are living abroad, and those are mainly people who are living abroad. Those are mainly students and alumni from our universities. As I mentioned, the main goals is to market and promote Tampere as the best living, working and study place, and also a best place to visit in Finland internationally. And it's also, as it is a channel for us to market the Tampere, it's also a regional development tool, because we can gather people from the network together around different kinds of internationalization projects and connect them with local companies, for instance. It's also all about strengthening the English-speaking community here, because we have a lot of people coming to study abroad to Tampere, but how to connect them with the professional networks, that's not the easy part. And many times the networks are the key to have a job after their studies. So this is also one part of the ambassador network goals. Each ambassador who joins the network, we like them to choose their mission. What is their role in the ambassador network? Are they promoting Tampere as a good place to study, or are they more business oriented, or are they here for research or different kinds of activities? So they can choose their mission. And we try to provide the tools to execute those missions. We have published this year Ambassador Handbook also, and there is on the handbook I brought some examples. On the back there is also a welcoming words from the Mayor of Tampere, who is supporting the Tampere Ambassador Network and inviting about 15 to 20 ambassadors each year for lunch with her. So I'm very happy to say that the network is quite well supported from the city of Tampere as well. Ambassador communication, a little bit about that. We have a Talent Tampere network site, website, where we publish stories about the ambassadors. All the ambassadors write their story, and that's part of how they can promote Tampere at the same time when they tell about themselves. We have a closed Facebook group where we share information for the ambassadors about our business events and about different kinds of news around Tampere. And we also hope that Tampere ambassadors share the news for their network abroad. We have gathered together a toolkit for the ambassadors for each kind of missions, how to promote Tampere as the best place to study and to do research. There people can find, ambassadors can find links and different kinds of materials, how to do that. And of course one main point is to have a direct contact and connection to Credea and also to City of Tampere at the same time. Here are some cases that I would like to share with you how Ambassador Network during these 2 years has facilitated the internationalization of Tampere. Through the Ambassador Network, for instance, we have received few business connections abroad, and we have already received 2 delegations which have came to visit us and also the universities and learn about our research activities here. Then we have facilitated internationalization of our local companies. If we have a company who is interested in a certain target country or target region in the world, we can connect them with the right ambassadors. Then of course the publications and media visibility is one of the things. And each year the Mayor of Tampere rewards the ambassador of the year. Here are some examples about how we try to report, of course, what is happening inside the network. And what is our new development issue during this year is that we have created also with the universities a student ambassador network, which is now connected with the local professional network. Sorry, I don't have so much voice. So we have planned that this year we will have upcoming events here in Demola. We call this Demola as an innovation hub. We have recognized many innovation hubs here in Tampere, and we would like that ambassadors and other networks also have a possibility to learn about how those innovation hubs work. For instance, we will have a Mediapolis event during next autumn, and then the U-Campus, which is related to Tampere University of Applied Sciences. Then we have also annual event and of course the mayor's lunch. Other events that are related to business life in Tampere or visit Tampere activities, we try to connect ambassadors to those events. So what's up at Tampere region, business region at the moment? During last year, last autumn, we gathered together different stakeholders from the region, mainly local companies and other organizations, to create a new strategy for the region. And we call it Creative Zest. That is when we reorganized Tredea's activities, which we are now concentrating on the development level, in regional level. We are concentrating on the renewing industry, which is about digitalization of our traditional industry. Tampere has a very big, great history of manufacturing industry, and now on top of that we have Nokia and Microsoft, which left here a big pool of ICT talents, and that is one thing that we try to connect now together in order to create new digital solutions for the traditional industry. Smart City Tampere was launched also, the strategy, during last year, and that means that we try to find smart solutions for our developing city area. Then we have also to mention the smart health. We have many health projects in Demola, and that is something that is under development on FinMedi cooperation. And then the experience economy. We have also recognized that Tampere has a big pool of gaming industry, and also from tourism side, Tampere is very attractive. We have a lot of tourism attractions for Finnish people. How to make it international? That's one good question, of course. So actually, when you ask from Finnish people where they would like to move if they have to move somewhere in Finland, one of five persons would say that they would prefer Tampere. So Tampere is very popular place among Finns. During many years, one research center, Taloustutkimus, has recognized Tampere as the most popular place to study and to live. So we have a perfect way to create the attractiveness of Tampere also internationally. Tampere has also 150 years of traditions of industry and innovation. First electric light bulb in the Nordics was illuminated here. And also, like recent years, we have had a Nokia development hub here in Tampere, and many things has been like from smartphones to smart industry has been developing here in Tampere. And one of the new developments is the Nokia Oso camera, virtual camera, which was actually developed here in Tampere. The city of Tampere is heavily investing for the future. We expect that we would have, during the next 20 years, about 100,000 new inhabitants. So that means that we are building new districts here in the city area. And it has been estimated that we are investing over 6 billion euros for the city area. And that includes, for example, the tramway that it's under construction at the moment. But this is very much included in the smart city program that we have in Tampere, in order that we want to create a city which is a testing platform for companies. That when we build a new district, companies could come and join that project in the beginning and test their products and build their products on those districts, in order that that might be a new product for them in the future to export.
So the new district would be like a city lab?
Yes, that's the main goal. It's under development. But we are also facing some challenges, of course, because of the big growth and very fast growth. How we create this kind of smart city collaboration, it is not easy. We have to recognize the platforms that we can sell for the companies who will join the projects, and we need a very good collaboration between different stakeholders, of course. Then we have the Tampere 3 university collaboration. 3 universities are merging together, and that has been also a big process, development process for during last couple of years. Then of the internationalization, what is happening in Finland. We are receiving a lot of people from abroad, so what it means on the service level, how can we also include people who move abroad to study or to work here, also to the community. And traffic and international airport development, it's also a question, because it's good for us to be so close to Helsinki, but it's also a bad thing, because then we are lacking of these kind of good airport connections, because that it's so easy to go by train also to Helsinki. And of course the mismatch of skills and open professions, that's of course an issue in Finland in general. Yeah, we have a quite great talent pool of 36,000 students in Tampere, and that is the talent pool for the future, and talents are actually the main reason why companies decide to move to Tampere. This I mentioned already, from smartphones to smart machines. Basically it means that all these smart development things that have been under development for the smartphones is now transferred more and more to, for example, for the automotive industry and for the traditional industry in general. So here we are. We have a program for today. I would like to ask also my colleague Piri Hiltunen to tell you a little bit about the Tampere 3 collaboration, about the ambassador network on the student side.
Okay, I don't have a PowerPoint presentation. I'll just take a couple of minutes of your time. So my name is Piri Hiltunen. I work at the Tampere University of Applied Sciences. I've been there for about, let's see, 23 years this December, working on international student affairs, on outgoing, incoming mobility, on professional projects, on the intensive weeks, courses, curriculum development, and now I took on a new task of putting together with Mari, the student network, and finding the ambassadors from all the 3 universities in town before they all become one. In 2019, the Tampere 3 has been said a couple of times. The 3 universities will merge. The University of Tampere and Technical University will merge as universities, and they will own the University of Applied Sciences, so the stock majority will transfer from the city of Tampere to the new university, so we can actually be one, without wrecking the Finnish dual model of Universities of Applied Sciences and universities. We want to find the best of both worlds, so the academic highest possible research achievements that we possibly can, with the closest possible collaboration with the working life that the University of Applied Sciences has. I have to say about Demola that we have actually used student projects. The summer break is especially good for us because we can trim our services. We can give a block of our services to a group of students and ask them to see if everything is where it's easily found, if it's explained enough, if it's in the right place, if we're providing the right kind of services. So we're in the right place. We're probably going to do that a lot more with the new services that we're going to develop, since we're going to put together a completely different kind of university that no one has ever seen in Finland before. That will also mean that we will grow the talent pool from the now 36,000 to closer to 40,000, especially by recruiting students from abroad. And we are trying to keep all our university life very international. So we are promoting, of course, within the universities, the addition of new programs that are carried out in English or in another foreign language. And we are promoting the international intake so that we can get students into the groups to create something fantastic, something new and something outside of the box. First recruitment of student ambassadors is going on now, ending tomorrow. I'm looking forward to finding a very full email box on Friday morning with good recommendations from staff members at the universities on who we should pick. We can only pick about 15 now, 3 from each university, so that we can fully develop the model together with the student ambassadors on what they want to help us with, what they feel they are best capable of helping us with. And then, of course, they are an asset to the working life as well. So we will try to find joint companies or joint ventures with the local companies. So I will most likely be sending a more full introduction to me and the student network on the Facebook page of Talent Tampere, and in newsletters that you're going to receive in the future. And I think that we'll be seeing each other a lot, I hope. Won't take more of your time. Thank you very much.
Before the networking break, I would be happy to answer some of your questions. It was very good suggestion from Julia that we could combine the networks together when you are coming here to Tampere, you could meet also our Tampere ambassadors, and we could learn a little bit about your activities. So after the networking break, it's your turn, actually.
I didn't run away, so I can also answer questions if you have any concerning the new university. I'll be happy to let you know whatever I know. Nobody knows yet what's coming. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I have because I am also the student ambassador of the University of Demola. And then you just mentioned you are recruiting new student ambassadors. So I don't know what's the relation between these two, or we are automatically admitted to the ambassador recruiting.
We are going to combine the two networks. So the new ambassadors, of course, they need some training. You are already an expert in being an ambassador. So we are also going to look at the existing pool of ambassadors and recognizing those that are still students. And you can, of course, mentor the new student ambassadors in the future. So we will be contacting you, but after we train the new ones, the shiny new baby ones.
Okay, well, let's start the networking break, and please feel free to take coffee or snacks here. Yeah.
One of those charts.
Yeah, I think so.
Were you gonna talk again? What's this like? There's no stop. Give her a laptop, a clicker, and a video projector, and she's there to talk. You can't see a podium without standing behind it.
I hate that.
You hate what? Where are you getting ready? Are you really doing something for us or no? No, say lane there. Oh my gosh, yeah, right there. Right there. What's the C? What does the C stand for?
The C?
No, Elaine C. Right there. Clarice.
不用卖，你说这次用这个测试的多么好啊！操！
但至少是成功了，但是他没用而已。
这样，这个可以这样。
好，看好。成。
这个这样，怎么？对，好了吧？先
我把这先拿下来，然后让手别走。不，这个就行，这个就行。
啊，你别拆了，你看看。
那也行。
Sia per l'immersione proprio or the teacher. Because we do some things. Some people come to our university.
So maybe there's something.
就是让他出来，然后从这边走过来。
to tell about their activities, and later on we will continue about the subject for the raising funds for one's business venture by Elaine Rido. Thank you. But first we will start with Dr. Zolt Bedo, who is representing the University of Pécs. You pronounce the S. And NetMIP is the network of multidisciplinary ideation and business model generation. But you will tell us a little bit more about the network itself and what is your goals and aims with that.
Yes, thank you. I see that the network members are here, but there are some other people who might be interested. Their network members are interested, but they have been hearing this for 2-3 days. So welcome. The thing that I'm going to be talking about is a work in progress, which means that we're in the middle of the development of a program with partners from multiple countries, and the aim is to create a program and a platform that allows student entrepreneurs at different universities, at different countries to come together, form an ecosystem, form a community, and engage in co-creation, co-learning and co-creation in the framework of their curriculum activity, and through this further intensify their experience, their entrepreneurial experience, and to have a more successful outcome as an entrepreneur. I did not prepare, I just have one slide which is going to help me to explain you a little bit the project, what we're working on. I'm coming from University of Pécs. It's a university of size of around 20,000 students in Hungary, south of Hungary. We have an entrepreneurship center. It's called Simonyi BEDC, and we run very similar programs as was described by our colleague from Demola. We have a very similar structure offered to SMEs. We have something very similar offered to students. What we think about the university and students, and as far as I see, you guys are students as well, so our view about students is that there's a huge capacity, creative capacity within the university, which hasn't been exploited in a positive sense. And what we do at Simonyi BEDC Entrepreneurship Center is that we open the floor for students who have ideas, any idea. We're not just looking for high-tech, the next Facebook and all that stuff ideas. We're looking for ideas that are able to make small-scale adjustments in currently available products or services that can create the value proposition of that service or that product. And of course, we're not going to reject anyone with a bigger idea, but we really allow anyone who has an entrepreneurial initiative. This is very important for us because our region is a post-industrial region, and with very few companies. So in our view, the only future for the region is if we have student entrepreneurs emerging and being very active and developing companies, developing initiatives on their own. So our programs are focusing on these individuals. We've run our programs as Demola does in the spring, in the fall, and in the summer. In the summer, we have a social entrepreneurship program. But in the fall and in the spring, we run incubation. We call it incubation program, Simonyi incubation program. And our vision 2 years ago was to give a very strong international layer to our incubation program. We saw that our students are able to achieve much better results if they interact. This is the peer-to-peer learning and co-creation, co-learning. But we saw that multidisciplinarity and multicultural and intercultural experience is going to add huge value to this incubation program. So we designed a proposal to the European Union. This was this NET MIB program that the European Union funded. And through this program, what we are building, we're building two things. We're building a curriculum. Your favorite, yeah. This is why I brought it. We're building a curriculum that allows student groups, student entrepreneurs, and students who are interested in being part of the development process of an idea into a scalable business model. And we also create a called virtual incubation platform. This is an internet-based this will be an internet-based multi-sided platform that is going to allow higher education institutions. We have currently 4 higher education institutions within the consortium, but we are hoping that our associated partners are going to join. And these higher education institutions are going to take the entire curriculum of developing the idea into a scalable business model. B, are going to use this platform, this multi-sided platform, for their students and for their programs in order to allow students between universities at different locations to interact. So imagine something like Demola, if you guys have been involved in Demola or the startup program here in Tampere. Imagine something like this, running at multiple places as Demola does, but at the same time you have the ability through a platform, through a multi-sided platform, to see what is going on at other locations. What sort of projects are going on in Hungary? What sort of projects are going on in Spain? What sort of projects are going on in Greece? And so on and so on and so on. You can actually interact with those projects. You can actually interact with the students. You can tell the student group in Hungary that, hey guys, you are developing something very similar that I have seen, but you are making a mistake here. I can advise you, I can help you because I'm a knowledgeable person in that field. I can help you. And you throw your competences at them, you start talking, and you become a member of a team that is conducting a project developing in Hungary, but you are doing it from Tampere. Or you have an idea, you pitch the idea through the platform, but you don't have any teammates who will help you develop it. You may get team members from Hungary, from Greece, from other places, and using our methodology and development process, which will be a 15-week development process, you will be able to achieve a scalable business model with an MVP at the end, minimum viable product at the end, with all those interactions with business professionals, all those interactions that is necessary throughout the development project. So currently the project is at the phase of developing the curriculum, developing the platform. We already have the consortium, of course. We will launch our pilot project in September, starting September until December, and we will have a large group of associated partners from many countries, from Croatia to Italy and Great Britain, who will be hopefully joining the pilot project. So for you to understand, if you are a student, if you are a mentor, if you are anyone else, and also from the United States, for you it can be an opportunity to join this project or the pilot project starting in September. If you are a Tampere student, if you are not a Tampere student, you're coming from someone else, you can email us and we can hook you up with a person close to you who is part of the consortium, or if we cannot find someone, we're just going to take you into a project or into our program. So this is that I wanted to say, and I'm out of time. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have questions or if you would like to contact us, just please do.
Oh, that's weird. So I can't. Okay. And then I just. That's. Okay, great. Hi, my name is Elaine Rideout. I'm here to talk about financing your company. And I was asked to put it a little bit in the context of my own experience and my own company. I'm also a faculty member at NC State University. I do a lot of work with students, also with faculty, and I also do research and entrepreneurship. And in particular, the area of entrepreneurship education and what really works in terms of helping students learn how to become entrepreneurs so they actually do become entrepreneurs. And I think that the main thing to take away, just as a summary today, is this one word, which I'm sure a lot of you, and I don't even know if I spelled it right, bricolage. A lot of you may have heard about this word. It's a big word in the field of entrepreneurship, and you'll notice that there's the word collage in that word, and that's really what bricolage is. Bricolage is all about gathering resources around or what's available around you. So when it comes to financing your business, it's very much like building a collage. To build a collage, which is a piece of art, you take pieces of things and pictures and whatever you happen to have that you like, and you put them all together and you make a piece of art. Well, financing your small business is very similar, because to bootstrap or bricolage finance your business, you have to look to your local community, your local resources, your own network, who do you know, and you pull together whatever resource you can find. So it's very, very important to realize that when I talk about financing my own business, I'm obviously talking about financing a business in the United States, which may be very different from the bricolage type of resources you have available in your own local communities, but there may be some similarities as well. So just wanted to give you that introduction. And the other thing I wanted to point out with my company is, all right, so I want to show you what we are doing with my real product. So we are a company that is both a hardware and a software company. This is not what you think it is. This is an antenna node. And it's designed the way it is because it's very, very, very accurate in terms of locating objects in space. So you put these little antenna nodes up anywhere. You can also change the mount and turn it around, which is what I'm going to do, and just set it on a shelf somewhere, perhaps right about here on top of the hat. And
you only need maybe 3 of these little devices, and you can put them up very easily, and you will be able to do real-time tracking of anything that's important to you. This is a smart tag, and the system works very much like GPS works in the outside world. So all we're doing is we're creating a mesh network, hence the background there, and we are tracking anything within the mesh network that has a smart tag attached to it. We can do this very accurately. Currently, the solutions out there like GPS, you all know, do not track your phone indoors very accurately. So there are all kinds of applications, particularly in manufacturing and industry, which is our market, where it's very important to know in real time, where is your inventory? What is your inventory? What in your inventory is about ready to spoil? And where is it? And are things being taken care of, or are they disappearing out of back doors and in pockets? So that's what we do. I thought it would be helpful to actually have some visual aids. Now I'm going to talk to you about how we have been, and it's still a work very much in progress, but how we have financed this company. It's very difficult to finance a hardware company. It typically takes about $2.5 million, at least in the United States, to create a hardware company. To create a system, which is what we have a mesh network, you're talking about not only are you creating a hardware company, but you are also creating a software company at the same time. This is very expensive and takes a long time. All right, so just the very quick summary about why this product is needed. Currently, you've all heard of the Internet of Things, the IoT. The IoT typically consists of sensor networks, and these sensors are typically things like a temperature sensor or a barcode. The thing that they all have in common is they only work typically with regard to static assets. So if you want to know where something got put in a warehouse, you only know that it got put somewhere if someone took a barcode or took a barcode scanner and scanned a barcode of the object and then scanned a stationary barcode on the shelf where they supposedly just put that object. And then they have to continue. So basically, you cannot take that object and track it in real time currently. So we not only can track with our little mobile mesh network in real time, we can do so in 3 dimensions, and that's another specialty that we've put together, both X, Y, and the vertical dimension. So again, just to reiterate, what do we do now? We do barcode scanning. You're all familiar with grocery stores or department stores where you're walking in and out and you just bought something and the RFID was not removed from the tag and an alarm goes off. Those are called RFID gateways. They're very infrastructure heavy. They're very costly. Their total cost of ownership is quite high. They go down a lot. They're not particularly accurate. But most of all, like GPS, they do not track accurately indoors in real time. They also do not give you that vertical dimension. So the current solutions, including tracking MAC addresses, there's some Wi-Fi solutions out there. They give you area accuracy, but again, they do not track your object within 10 inches, which is what we try to do, well, what we have accomplished. So this is pretty self-explanatory. This is basically our value proposition. Accurate, reliable. This is very simple to install. There's no calibration, no wiring, no measuring. Very low power. Batteries last up to 10 years, so you don't have that issue with active tags that have batteries that you always have to change. Also, we do not have any interference because this mesh network that we're using uses a frequency that is different from your Wi-Fi frequency. So if you're trying to use a Wi-Fi solution to do your granular tracking indoors, you're going to have all kinds of latency problems. Let's say you're trying to track 10,000 objects on your local Wi-Fi. Obviously, that's going to be a problem. So these current solutions are not scalable if they're trying to use a Wi-Fi as a backbone. Scalable, we're infinitely scalable. Any number of objects can be tracked simultaneously. So how do we track it? How do we know the location where something is? You literally pull up the identifier of the asset and it shows you on a dot on your floor plan where it is in real time. The novelty. So this is the secret sauce. And this is what we use to try to attract the capital that we need to take this company to scale. So our accuracy is a result of the fact that we have solved using very sophisticated analytics and algorithms, software algorithms, the reflectivity problem which plagues Wi-Fi solutions. If you try to take a Wi-Fi solution and do tracking in a metal environment or an environment with a lot of water, humidity, cement walls, other kinds of obstacles, you're not going to have an accurate solution, an accurate result in terms of real-time location. So we've solved that. We have 9 patents pending, proprietary algorithms, as I mentioned, in our software. We use a new-to-the-world ultra-low power antenna, which you've just seen here, and a new-to-the-market chipset. And we are also FCC certified now in the United States. And the U.S. certification is actually one of the tougher standards to meet compared to around the rest of the world. So this very quickly just, again, shows how we work in terms of real-time locating in comparison with alternative technologies. And this will give you an idea of a screenshot from our user interface, which will show you where your assets are superimposed on a map of your floor plan. In addition, the software gives you customizable battery life signals, other alerts, something is violating a security perimeter, for example. Something just started moving that wasn't supposed to move. We have a temperature sensor, vibration, acoustics. So you have a piece of equipment today, typically you know if that engine is about to need some maintenance because you use sensors, for example, that give you vibration, give you acoustic signals. Well, what if that object is moving? The most important thing, perhaps, if you're trying to maintain something, is where is it located right now when it's starting to kick into the wrong frequency? What if you have a hospital patient who has just fallen out of bed? You have no idea where that person is, or they're having a heart attack. You need to know where that person is. So we utilize this technology in conjunction with a lot of other sensors that have been developed in the Internet of Things. This just briefly shows how our systems architecture works. This shows the opportunities in multiple industries that we're pursuing, including healthcare, warehousing, manufacturing, logistics, data centers, aviation, defense, and government. So how are we getting to market and how are we financing this venture? Hopefully you kind of have gotten a sense of what the company's technology is and what we're trying to do. So the way we are scaling this company and growing our go-to-market strategy is basically to work through the Internet of Things software platform companies. So they are our direct customers. They typically have a platform that accepts a variety of sensors. So if they can have an accurate location technology as part of their toolkit, part of their platform offering to their customers, they're delighted to have that for their customers, and we're delighted to have them reselling our solution. So this is an example of some of the companies that we are selling to. And out of these companies, 5 of these are already our customers. Just to give you a little bit of idea about how this company got started. It got started because, and we've been talking a lot about ideation and how do we find problems and solve problems. It got started because I just got very tired of always losing my glasses. So I thought, RFID technology had just come out. What if we could use RFID technology to do real-time locating? So I had to get very smart very quickly about RFID. I read RFID for Dummies and a lot of books and quickly found out that RFID is not an RTLS solution. So not to be deterred, I went looking for engineers who were smart enough to solve this intractable problem. The first team that I hired ended up, unbeknownst to me, thinking this would be a great way to turn a quick buck and sub out my contract to someone smarter than themselves and take a cut off the top. So needless to say, I found that out. I lost some money and I had to fire them and go to team number 2. So it's definitely helpful if you are a founder who is also an engineer, which I am not. You lose a lot of money and a lot of sleep and a lot of time if you're trying to attract the technical team that is on board with your idea, that you can trust, that you can work together as a team and actually get something going. Long story short, the next team I pulled together was a complete, utter fiasco because they developed something, looked great. I pulled in the investors. I put on a fabulous show. I had treats and, you know, the whole thing. And I got to the venue and my investors arrived. And the engineer was nowhere to be found. So I called. About an hour later, he sort of shuffled in and set up his equipment to show the demo, which he had convinced me was the next best big thing, right? And it didn't work at all. So I was humiliated and embarrassed and everything else, and I wasted all of these very important people's time, and undeterred, I went to team number 3. And this whole process took 3 years of wasted time and wasted money. I lost about $30,000 out of my retirement fund because of these 2 mistakes. But the third team was put together by one of my colleagues, teaching colleagues in the Engineering Entrepreneurs Program, a good friend, a wonderful person, an absolute brilliant engineer. And he took the idea that no one else had at that point thought of, which was, let's do indoor locating the same way GPS works. Even to this day, indoor locating is done using Wi-Fi solutions, or barcodes, or stationary, RFID portals. So we decided to create the mini GPS that works indoors, and that very strange looking antenna is a very, very particular design that works more accurately than anything else that exists currently on the market. So who are we? I am a career entrepreneur, as I introduced myself. My co-inventor is previously has had great success in a number of innovations, including being on the team that was the first to invent the tiny OS. He was one of the first to track animals in the wild back in the days when he was at Berkeley. He got his PhD at Berkeley. His other degree is from MIT. We also have help from a corporate executive who has scaled a company up to 100 million in net revenue. So far, we've raised about 750,000 in pre-seed financing, and that's primarily through grants and other awards, including the NC State Docketing Prize, as well as a Small Business Innovation and Research Award. That's through the U.S. federal government. So very quickly, so this is our objective. How do we get here, become best in class? How do we get the financing to get there? What we had to do, being a hardware company, is we had to invent a new kind of business model ourselves in order to be able to accomplish this very ambitious task of creating this new technological system. So, short term, the strategy was basically bricolage, as I mentioned before. Friends, family, and fools, always have those, cash investments. My product designer is my son. He works for stock, okay? We've used interns, we had a Kickstarter team, we have all kinds of help from consultants and experts who have agreed to be paid later. Our patent attorney, for example, I don't have to pay her all year until December when it comes out of her pocket, and so this last December I had to write her a check for $13,000 and then scramble to figure out a way to make payroll. We outsource as many things as possible. Obviously, we all have a lot of sweat equity as well as cash in the company. We've loaned the company money. We use credit cards. Customer financing is huge. Some of my customers have been willing to extend me a line of credit. I have a $200,000 credit from my biggest customer, for example, $200,000 line. We're also working a licensing deal. We've got an angel round underway, crowdfunding, and kit sales. So now, how do we get to that long-term sustainability, given that we are not, you notice, a venture-backed company? So what we decided to do was come up with a new sort of revenue model. Basically, it's an innovation model where innovation becomes a business function in and of itself. As far as revenue, again, upfront costs is what we are trying to sell our system with utilizing the cellular phone model. So the hardware, the network, the installation, very, very low cost. Software is what you pay for on a monthly basis. So the alternative business model is called an open innovation business model. And so you'll notice this diagram I have over here. We had to develop this new sort of business model because as a hardware company, it typically takes, so far I'm right about here, in terms of developing this technology. Well, there's no venture fund that would be that patient with their capital, right? So hardware companies have a very difficult time. It actually doesn't make much sense for a hardware company to go with a venture financing model. So part of the reason for that is that the innovation life cycle is actually, now that we have a global economy, shortening quite a bit. Typically you would have your monopoly profit from your technology all the way out here until your patent protection expired. But now, given the world that we live in, competition can come in way before you ever reach the point of your patent expiration. Which means you now have maybe 10 years of your monopoly profits to make up for the last however many years you've invested in this company, right? Well, in our case, this time frame is shortened even more. So the the bottom line is you now have anywhere from 2 years if you're a software company to maybe 6 or 7 to try to recoup all of your investments in a hardware company. So the innovation life cycle that used to give you all this time is now crunching itself, and that's the reason why venture capitalists need to have their money back within 4 or 5 years. So obviously that model was not a good model for us. So what we did is we went a different direction. This is status quo, what your typical tech startup does in terms of trying to get financing and get to market. Again, this is the status quo, doesn't really fit a hardware company. You have your tech startup trying to get to market as fast as possible because their their funder is saying get to market as fast as possible, and they're having to make a lot of guesses in terms of which market do we pick and let's get there really fast. Look at all the mistakes that especially a hardware startup could make under this scenario. Your knowledge about your early adopters is limited. You have to have very large infusions of venture capital immediately, moral hazard, right? You're probably not going to manage that money very well. Your business model must fit whatever your investor is thinking is the best way for him or her to get their money back. They have a single market focus. You might want to have a different approach where you try to hop across a whole bunch of markets, trying out different segments in order to find the perfect fit. They're not going to go for that. So you are in a short-term situation with a long-term product that takes a long time to develop, and you might have one funding round, and if you don't nail it, you're dead. So let's go open innovation, and that's what we've decided to do. We utilize an open innovation business model, and this is an open innovation model because it involves sharing a lot of those monopoly profits that we talked about over there where you see the life cycle innovation curve sloping steeply upwards. We share with others in order to get to the market faster. The faster you're in the market, the more likely you can become the tech platform and that next big standard, which is, in our case, what we're looking to become. So instead of going the VC route, we work with market intermediaries. Those market intermediaries take us to several, in fact, many market segments so that we can test our hypothesis in real life and figure out where's the best what's the best market for us to scale rapidly. Our intermediaries know a lot about what the customers need, allowing us to quickly innovate and expand our product offerings to better fit those markets. Our intermediaries are helping to finance us. That further helps us to get to market quicker with less capital. So the disadvantage for the startup is they could have lower profits. The huge advantage is they definitely have lower costs. So we're sharing our costs as well as sharing our monopoly profit that we might have before the competition kicks in 5 years, 6 years, whatever it is. But it's a very short time in this world, especially if you're a hardware company. So we are actually, believe it or not, maximizing the returns on our shareholders' capital, even though we don't have any venture investment. Now don't forget, we did have a lot of upfront investment from grants and loans and awards and that sort of thing. So this goes over very quickly and you can read for yourself, but these are all the benefits of the open innovation business model, both for the startups as well as for intermediary to market partners. For them, they're getting innovation from the outside in. Their own R&D shops may not have been able to come up with this technology that might be a perfect fit for the needs of their customers. They are able to get a technology, an offering of their own, they can even brand us if they want, into the market faster. They can share in these monopoly profits during this short period where there's no other similar product on the market. Furthermore, by getting into the market quicker and more broadly, it allows you to take that time that we're looking at in the innovation life cycle and expand that out, hopefully toward the patent expiration date. It allows continuous innovation on behalf of our intermediary partners, and it allows us and them more time on the market, greater return on investment. In terms of the startup, for us, very small operation, 6 people. Currently, I'm trying to hire a couple more engineers. It allows us to serve more markets immediately. It allows us to scale very quickly. It allows us to get into the market immediately. It allows us to have help from giant companies in terms of boots on the ground and a lot of other things. We have a shorter production cycle, and it's much easier for us to scale our technology out into the world. So here's where we are now. Because we have these numerous partners, we are currently able to serve, even though we're only a 6-people company, all of these different industries. Now let me give you an example of how the open innovation model works. Notice who's doing most of the work. It's not us. We continue to do our core competency, which is what we're best at. We're best at tech. We're best at R&D. We love inventing stuff. We are not so good at customizing for a specific market that we know very little about. We are not so good at manufacturing massive quantities of a new technology. And by the way, what if there's a screw-up? Who's going to warranty 10,000 of those guys? We've only been testing them and had it one turned on for 3 months. We don't have any idea how long these little guys are going to last. We don't have to handle the warranty. Furthermore, we don't have to deal with distribution. We are sharing notice. We are sharing IP. So these are all of our partners in this open innovation model. We have the end customer. This is an aerospace defense contractor, one of the largest in the world. Their IT group is doing this. They're customizing our technology. They're also customizing a lot of other things. There's an RFID provider in the mix. Those are for those assets that are so inexpensive that our little tag is too costly to use. In addition, we have an IoT platform dashboard analytics partner. We also have the project manager who's taking on much of the difficult and very expensive labor, manufacturing, those kinds of responsibilities. Notice all of the IP checks. There's been intellectual property created at a higher level by combining all of these various core competencies of the various partners. Notice the boots on the ground part. That's somebody who's always on site in a massive manufacturing facility, and that's not going to be someone from my office of 6 people, 5 of whom are engineers, doing R&D. So the open innovation business model allows for performance segmentation that increases the total value of the technological innovation. It's more efficient. We utilize more core competencies of the various players. We have shared costs. We have shared profits. We also are allowed to share in new IP creation. We can get earlier volume so that we can immediately go into large volume manufacturing, which is the cheapest way, but typically a long time in coming, for your average venture-backed hardware company. We have a better likelihood of becoming a market standard. We have a larger presence in more distribution channels, and we are getting feedback from 6 or 7 different markets, which is allowing us to continuously innovate at a very rapid pace so that we can be more specialized and more valuable to our customers. We're staying on the cutting edge longer, and this allows us to do very sophisticated distribution, manufacturing, operations, service support, and we also have a more robust supply chain because of the relationships and networks of our partners. So who are our customers? I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Our aerospace customer, we're doing tool tracking. So the idea is when you're manufacturing airplanes or servicing those, it's very hard to do real-time tracking because you're in an environment of metal everywhere. Conventional real-time locating technologies do not work in that environment, as I mentioned earlier. However, our technology is extremely accurate, usually under 10 square inches. The current solution is to try to do it with RFID. As we know, that's a static solution. Our technology allows our customer to know which tool is being used, who has it, in real time at all times. Manufacturing and retail customers, we're doing bin tracking with them. Again, their current solution is static, barcodes, RFID. Our technology allows them to know where is their bins, what's in it, in real time at all times. Similarly, a health customer that we have, very large health tech company, multinational corporation, is trying to use beacons and infrared, Wi-Fi beacons and infrared solutions. We can tell them where is the patient, where is the doctor, where is this medical device in real time. Do you have any questions?
Two questions. First, where do you actually produce your product now?
We are manufacturing in the United States.
In the United States?
Yes.
And how did you overcome the problem of going from the prototype to the first pre-series to the mass volume? I mean,
So the prototyping development, we were very fortunate because we received, as I mentioned, $650,000 in grant financing to get us through the R&D cycle to the point of prototype development. In addition to that, we received a prize from our university back a few years ago. Most, promising on-campus startup company in terms of commercialization. The rest of the financing has had to come out of my retirement and my co-founders and our friends and our family and my mom and my best friend from school and people like that. So that got us to the point where we had these guys and we could take them into any location. Within 20 minutes, have an entire network set up, push a button, and people could walk around with that little tag and you could literally see in real time, very accurately, where that person was or where you put it on a cat or you put it on a cart and pushed a computer around, whatever. So we had that prototype pretty much in its finished form. We use 3D printing machines, we bootstrapped this entire operation.
Okay, so you produced yourself, so the first series.
Yes. And we are located in an incubator on Centennial campus at NC State University. So we have access to labs, we can test, wireless networks, and we can we have access to equipment so that we can, anechoic chambers, so that we can actually develop this very sophisticated technology. Yes.
Is there any plan to go international, to
Yes.
go overseas, for example?
Absolutely. So we are, it's ironic you mentioned that because we're starting to get a lot of traffic on our website, and I'm getting requests from all over the world. So people want to get a hold of this and try it out for themselves in different applications, and they want to develop new technologies around this technology. I mean, this can be used for anything from your student group who wants to track their little robots playing soccer, up to very sophisticated companies with robotics or what have you. So the problem is it takes some time in the United States to be registered and complete all the paperwork to be able to sell outside of the U.S. And so I haven't finished that paperwork, and I've had to email these customers back and say, I'm sorry, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So we'll be trying to sell this as soon as we can outside of the U.S.
So once, that's probably a projection, I'm not expecting. So once all this paperwork is out of the way, if you, for example, secure a big project in Europe, let's say,
Right.
How long will it be for the project to be implemented?
Within a month or two. Yeah. Again, we already have a very robust infrastructure because we have all of these partners who give us the capacity to go in within a month or two and do a 5 million square foot facility. 10,000 tags, no problem. Any other questions? Yes.
How did you persuade your partners to share the costs? You were mentioning they're sharing the costs.
They didn't share much. It really is, it's to each whatever they have and are able to share. I ended up selling my house, and so I had some cash in the bank that I could use to finance this company. Yeah, I also had a little pension savings that I also could use. But the lion's share, I didn't have, the $2.5 million that it takes to start a hardware company, but we were able to do it at $750,000, which shows you, the power of bricolage, the power of bootstrapping something. Yes.
Where do you wish to see yourself in, let's say, 10 years or so?
In 10 years. It would be a dream come true if this technology could become a standard that would help people around the world. That would be my dream. Yeah. But, there's lots of competition already nipping at our heels. So I also know, because I've started a number of various ventures from nonprofit to for-profit to public, that it's a very hard thing to do, and it takes a long time, and it takes a lot more than talent. It takes a lot of being in the right time, the right place, a lot of luck. There's a lot of failure involved with entrepreneurship, and I've experienced, as you know, from my story with my various engineering teams, you just never know. You just never know. You don't get your hopes up too high. Anything can happen. That's it? No more? Okay.
Thank you, Lynn. Very interesting presentation. I know the indoor navigation is quite a hot topic also in Tampere.
Very cool.
Yes. So
Very cool.
Quite a good thing to know. So this is like the program today, but I hope you can still stay and discuss with each other a little bit and in order to network. I was very happy to have you here. Thank you, Julia, again, that you brought your network here, and that we had also the ambassadors, a chance with the ambassadors. I have for the ambassadors, actually, if here are new ambassadors present, I would like to offer you ambassador bag, so come and meet me later on there. So let's discuss more about it. Do you have by the way, the paper with the name list? somewhere here.
Right here. Did everybody get to sign?
So please sign your name on the list.
If anybody wants a little flyer about the company, I have a little stack here.
Demola.
Okay. Here's a little stack.